Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara, and we're glad you're joining us today for another in-depth look at the stories making headlines around the world. We strive to bring you fair, balanced, and unbiased reporting so you can stay informed about what's happening globally. Today, we're starting with a developing story that has significant implications for international relations and global security. Reports are emerging that a recent U.S. military strike in the Caribbean may have killed Colombian citizens. This incident is part of a series of strikes conducted by the U.S. against alleged drug vessels off the coast of Venezuela. According to statements made by Colombia's President, Gustavo Petro, there are indications that the last boat attacked by the U.S. military was carrying Colombian citizens. While details about these signs have not been elaborated upon, this revelation has the potential to escalate tensions in the region and complicate diplomatic relations between the countries involved. The U.S. government has been targeting boats it claims are involved in drug trafficking, with President Donald Trump categorizing these operations as part of a broader effort to combat narcotics and terrorism. However, the lack of transparency regarding the identities of those on board the targeted vessels and the justification for these strikes has raised questions and concerns among international observers. Venezuela's defense minister, Vladimir Padrino, has responded to the U.S. actions by suggesting that the true intent behind these military operations is to force a regime change in Venezuela rather than genuinely combating drug trafficking. This assertion reflects the deep-seated mistrust and geopolitical tensions that underpin the relationship between Venezuela and the United States. As this situation unfolds, it's crucial for all parties involved to prioritize transparency, accountability, and respect for international law. The potential for civilian casualties and the implications for regional stability underscore the need for a careful and nuanced approach to addressing these complex issues. We'll continue to monitor this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's clear that the situation in the Caribbean is fraught with tension and uncertainty, highlighting once again the complexities of global politics and security. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we continue to explore the complex issues shaping our world, we turn our attention to Ireland, where a significant development is unfolding in the country's approach to Israel and its settlements. Irish presidential frontrunner Catherine Connolly has been vocal about her criticism of the government for what she perceives as inaction on imposing sanctions on Israeli settlements in protest over Israel's military campaign in Gaza. This story is multifaceted, involving not just the political landscape of Ireland, but also international relations, particularly with the United States. Ms. Vast Connolly, an independent left-wing lawmaker backed by the main opposition Sinn Féin party, has urged Dublin to stand firm against pressure from big U.S. companies that are lobbying against the sanctions. Her stance is clear. She believes that any watering down of the law, especially limiting it to just goods and not services, would be a betrayal of the Palestinian people and an unwarranted concession to corporate interests. It's worth noting that Ireland's president, while largely a figurehead, does have some influence over the government, including the power to refer proposed laws to the Supreme Court for constitutional review. Given Mrs. C. Land in C. Connolly's lead in opinion polls ahead of the October 24 vote, her views on this matter could potentially shape Ireland's policy towards Israel and its settlements. The international implications are also significant. The Irish government has faced criticism from Israel, as well as threats of reprisal from U.S. lawmakers, who argue that passing such a bill would damage U.S.-Irish relations and negatively impact American companies operating in Ireland. This dynamic highlights the delicate balance countries must strike between their domestic policies, international relations, and economic interests. As we analyze this situation, it's essential to consider the diverse perspectives at play. On one hand, there are those who see sanctions as a necessary step to pressure Israel into re-evaluating its policies in Gaza and the West Bank. On the other hand, there are concerns about the potential backlash, including economic repercussions and strain on diplomatic relationships. In conclusion, the situation in Ireland regarding sanctions on Israeli settlements is a complex and contentious issue, reflecting broader global debates about sovereignty, human rights, and economic policy. As we move forward, it will be crucial to monitor how this story develops, considering both the domestic implications for Ireland and the international reactions that may ensue. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're wrapping up today's show with a look at the latest developments in French politics. As you may have heard, French President Emmanuel Macron is facing mounting pressure to name a new prime minister after his third prime minister in a year resigned earlier this week. According to reports, Macron is expected to make an announcement by Friday, and speculation is running high about who will take on the role. The move comes amid a period of significant turmoil in French politics, with the country struggling to address economic crises, political fragmentation, and rising tensions between different ideological groups. As German MEP Rasmus Andresen noted in a recent interview, France's instability has far-reaching implications for the entire European Union. The old model of a presidency able to command majorities is no longer sustainable in an ultra-fragmented party landscape, he said. Andresen warned that France must find a new politics of compromise, or risk pushing Europe into a deeper spiral of polarization, uncertainty, and instability. Meanwhile, French politicians are weighing in on the crisis, with some calling for greater cooperation and collaboration across ideological divides. As Sébastien Lecornu, a key figure in Macron's party, noted, "We need to find a way to work together, despite our differences, to address the pressing challenges facing our country." As we watch this story unfold, it's clear that the stakes are high, not just for France, but for the entire European Union. We'll be keeping a close eye on developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.